We've seen it briefly mentioned already, but our reading today shows the destruction of Jerusalem in a fuller sense. God warned that this was coming, and they didn't listen. And so let me read to you today 2 Chronicles chapter 36, verse 15 through 21. But the Lord, the God of their ancestors, sent word against them by the hand of his messengers, sending them time and time again. For he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. But they kept ridiculing God's messengers, despising his words and scoffing at his prophets, until the Lord's wrath was so stirred up against his people that there was no remedy. So he brought up against them the king of the Chaldeans, who killed their fit young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary. He had no pity on the young men or young women, elderly or aged. He handed them all over to him. He took everything to Babylon, all the articles of God's temple, large and small, the treasuries of the Lord's temple, and the treasures of the king and his officials. Then the Chaldeans burned God's temple. They tore down Jerusalem's wall, burned all of its palaces, and destroyed all of its valuable articles. He deported those who escaped from the sword of Babylon, and they became servants to him and his sons until the rise of the Persian kingdom. This fulfilled the word of the Lord through Jeremiah, and the land enjoyed its Sabbath rest all the days of the desolation until 70 years were fulfilled. And so we see here, and God says in his love and compassion that God sent messengers to call his people to repent, sent messengers time and time again, but they refused. And it reminds me of the fact that there will be many that will repeat this error in the end times, in Judgment Day. God has been calling people time and time again for years and years and years, calling people to repent and to believe in Jesus Christ, to give their life to him and be saved. But people refuse to give their life to him. Jesus is coming just like the destruction of Jerusalem came. And people need to be ready. You know, I remember this older contemporary Christian song now, written by Larry Norman, I believe, say, I wish we'd all been ready. Boy, isn't that the prayer of every Christian? I wish we'd all been ready when Judgment Day comes. But the only answer that we can come up with is for ourselves. Are you ready? Be ready for when Judgment Day comes.